sure you already all know. There we are.
It's Kristi.
I've never done this before. I didn't know what I was supposed to do.
I know.
So I was just, chatting away, and
everybody's probably
wondering what I was just rambling on about. But
anyway,
welcome.
Thank you.
Everybody, this is
Kristi Reiche, and last week you tuned in. I was
talking with her daughter
Michaela,
and I thought it'd be really fun.
to pop on and see
and hear from
her mom.
Are you getting
kind of the feedback that I'm getting?
No, I just hear you. You sound good.
Okay.
Turn my volume down.
Okay,
that's good. So
I thought it was just the coolest thing that your daughter has started her business in college. We're not even in college yet, and she said that it was mainly because you urged her. So can you tell me why, when you started your business and why you encouraged her to do it?
Okay, so I started my business in July 2013. It was the summer before Michaela was a senior in high school. And when she turned 18 in September, and then she was already using the product, and she literally came home from a sleepover and she said, "Mom, everybody was asking me about my Unblemish. I think so-and-so wants to order it." And I said, "All right, I'm signing you up as a consultant because you just sold a regimen. You didn't even really know what you were doing, but that's the beauty of this business is you wash your face and you share it with people, or people notice and they ask questions, and then all of a sudden you are able to share this with other people." And so she was not excited about it at first, but I just knew I was never the mom that allowed her to work. I did not allow her to work in high school other than babysitting. I knew she was getting ready to go to college, and waiting tables was not an option. I just did not, the thought of her working retail at a mall or something and leaving at 12 o'clock at night, walking out to an empty parking lot by herself, I had no interest in putting her in that situation. And I thought, gosh, if I can make a couple $100 at the time, that's what I was making, a couple $100. If I can do that, she can do that too. And how great would that be if she can make a couple $100 and she's not asking me for money? And so it was just like a no-brainer. And I just said, look, you'll be getting extra spending money. It'll be great. I'm signing you up. You don't really have a choice. And so we just went with it.
Okay, so you sign her up, and you're like, okay, now, did you go through a little bit of training, tell her what to do, and just get started, and how did you feel about that?
Yeah, so at the time that she started, I was kind of she was the second consultant, my second business partner. And so I was still fairly new. But, I would listen to training calls every week, and she would sit there at the dining room table with me and take notes. And, we would talk about social media. And really at the time I was posting on Facebook. If I ever did an event, she would come do an event with me, or she was really engaged and she was learning a lot way before she even saw the vision or really felt like, okay, I am going to post on Facebook. She didn't really jump in right away. She felt like she wanted to learn a lot more about it first.
Right.
So she starts college, and how does she work the business during college and her studies and keeping a balance with everything?
So it was really the best thing. Like I said before, I had no desire for her to work in retail or anywhere while she was in high school. And I really didn't want that in college, and she didn't want that in college. And frankly, she didn't have the time. She was, one of the reasons that she went to the University of Alabama is because of their football program. Any college student who works in college has to work on a Saturday. I don't know anybody who doesn't. That was not appealing. It was really not an option. She was in a sorority, and that alone, just the time that her sorority demanded of her time and attention, she didn't really have time. And so the fact that she could work redundant fields, while she's waiting in line in Chick-fil-A for lunch, or while she's grabbing a coffee at Starbucks, or, when she's back in her dorm at night after all of her studies, and she can hop on Facebook or listen to a training or, send a message to a girlfriend or answer questions. It just made sense for all the reasons that it made sense for me as a busy full-time working mom at the time. It made sense for her in college. And she lived in the sorority house her sophomore year. And so that's a huge network. You just automatically, every time you go to every semester, you meet new people, you have a new class, you're in a different building, your network is just constantly growing and changing. And so it just makes perfect sense.
Right. So at first she was hesitant.
Right. So at first she was hesitant, and then when was it that she grew to really love it?
She's always loved it. It was never a time where she didn't love it. But I think for her, I really believe that a lot of it was self-doubt. I know for me personally, one of the things that has surprised me the most about joining Rodan & Fields is just the professional development and just the self-improvement and the confidence that I've gained in myself and who I am and all that kind of stuff. And I think the same thing for her. She had this mindset of, I'm only 19 or I'm only a college student. Who am I to offer this to people? And I think once she got over that and she realized she needs the skincare, or so-and-so, her acne, or, everyone's commenting on my lashes. They need this stuff. Once she realized that she was more of a problem solver and not really a salesperson, that kind of was the game changer. And then she started, okay, I got this.
Right.
And she never wanted to be, at her age, people are always, just worried about what people think. And once she kind of got over that of, your opinions don't pay my bills type thing, she kind of just went for it. And so really when she graduated college and knew, okay, I'm about to get married, I want to have a large family, I don't want to work for somebody else, it's time to get serious. And that's exactly what she did. She graduated in December and started growing a team and just going really all in, and that confidence came. She's always kind of had the vision, but she didn't really step into that vision until she graduated, and then she hit level 5 in July. So 20% of the company at age 23 was a pretty great achievement. I was very proud of it. I know she worked really hard for it too.
Wow. Oh my gosh. I'm in awe. That is really, really cool. And I'm really excited about, hearing her story and talking to you, because I have the same future for my, I have 3 girls. And mine will graduate, be 18 in 4 years. So I feel like this would be such a great opportunity for her. And I know she's learning it all now. She's using the products now. And I know that whether she pursues, whatever she decides, this will be a great option.
Yeah.
So what has it, personally for you, what has it afforded you, this business?
So when I started Rodan & Fields, I was working full-time in the public school system as a speech-language pathologist. And since I started, I have been able to walk fully away from my full-time job. I have not worked full-time since 2014. I started in July 2013 and I left my job in June 2014. At that time I had not fully replaced my income, but a year later I did. Surpassed my income as a full-time speech pathologist. And so now for the last 4 years, I've been able to stay at home with Michaela's off in college, but I have, she's 8 years old now, but at the time she was younger. And so I've been able to be at home with her. And then this year, we decided to homeschool. And so after 3 years with her being in public school, we decided for her 3rd grade year to pull her out. And I am a homeschool mom, which is crazy. I never thought that I would do that. But it's allowed me to do things that I know God has called me to do, serving in my church, doing a lot of things with our kids ministry, and also serving in my family as her teacher and her influencer and her mom, and also just while being able to provide financially for our family and just take some of that pressure off my husband.
Yeah. That is really powerful. What is your favorite product that we have?
That's a hard one. So I'm going to do two. My favorite regimen, I'm going to do a regimen and then my favorite add-on product. My favorite regimen is Unblemished, because that was the single product that changed my skin and really built my belief. Like, I always believed in the company. I always believed in the doctors and just who they are. I used Proactive as a teenager. But the Unblemished regimen, 60 days after I started Unblemished, I just could not believe my skin. So that's will always be my favorite. I will never not love Unblemished just because of what it's done for me. But my favorite other product would be Active Hydration Serum. And I'll tell you, when I first started using it, I did not love it. It took me about 3 or 4 weeks. But because my skin is so acne prone, I just threw it away today. I had my product graveyard over on my office shelf. I was literally using a prescription moisturizer that my dermatologist gave me because my skin was so sensitive and everything would make me break out. But I can use, and I've always had dry skin because I can't really put anything on it. But Active Hydration,
right.
I'm in love with Active Hydration because it doesn't make me break out. It's just amazing. It just allows me to have hydrated, moist skin without any irritation. And so
that's pretty amazing that you were able to use, the product after having such sensitive skin. I love, where did it go? Our Body Replenish, which has the same technology as the Active Hydration Serum, but for your body. And this is almost gone. I'm like, I gotta get some more. It's been so awesome. It really is unlike anything I've ever felt, and it's going to be really great for the winter months coming up. So what would you say to someone who's got a college age child, or a young person who's watching who would be interested in the business? What advice or thoughts would you want to share?
Well, as a mom, like I said, I just can't think of a better, safer business opportunity. There's not really much to lose. There's nothing to lose, really. I was a helicopter mom. I still kind of am a helicopter mom. And so for me, it was just the best thing. It allowed Michaela, some independence in growing as an entrepreneur, which neither her or I ever felt like that was something that's where our paths were going. But it allowed her ownership, while making money and without bothering me all the time. Like, she had her own, it was an independence because she just had income and she didn't have to worry about asking my mom for money all the time or whatever. And so everyone, like, the same reason that it applies to adults would be the same reason that it would apply to kids. Like, it's
right.
The brand, where we're going in the future. Everybody has skin. Like you said, your daughter uses it and she's not, she's 13 or 14. Healthy skin is something that everybody should want to have. And it should not matter if I'm offering it or if you're offering it or if my 24-year-old now is offering. Like, it just doesn't matter who's offering it. So I think for me, when I think about legacy and when I think about the future and when I think about what Rodan & Fields, what I've seen in the last 5 years and what I know I'm going to see in the next 5 years and the next 5 years and the next 5 years, it gives me chills, but it also makes me really sad for people who overlook this, because I don't think that this business is something to be overlooked. And I think that when people start to put Rodan & Fields in that category of other direct sales companies or other things that they may have experienced before with sales companies, whatever, like, it is just so different. And if people would just open their mind and accept an opportunity to learn more about it, I think they would be really surprised and pleased, and like me, and like you, and like Michaela, would be like, whoa, okay, this is something that I need to look a little bit more at.
Right. I absolutely agree. Yes. Well, I can't thank you enough for coming on tonight. I thought it'd be really fun to follow up with you and hear your side. And if anybody has any questions or wants to reach out to either of us, We're happy to talk with you. And we appreciate your time tonight.
Thanks, Mary. I appreciate
Thank you.
It's fun.
Thank you.
Okay. Take care.
Okay.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.